Welcome back to another long-winded installment of Daisy Rants about things she's upset about in the Minecraft community. A series that will never seemingly end as I begin to find more and more things to take issue with here in this dreaded, winding catacomb of pixelated blocks and screaming teenage girls. Seriously though, the more I get into online communities in Minecraft, the more toxic it somehow becomes, and I've never wanted to hurl as badly as I did after having to research the depth and severity of this topic. So, buckle the fuck up, kids. This is going to be a wild, tragic ride. Today, in fact, we'll be discussing those screaming teenage girls I mentioned earlier, and the poor male streamers they harass incessantly beyond belief. The amount of harassment these male Minecraft streamers and YouTubers get is inherently problematic, and I feel should be addressed considering the awkward position these content creators have with their fan bases being as strange and toxic as they can get. Anyways, let's begin. Throughout the history of YouTube, teenagers have been notorious for latching onto their favorite content creators to extreme amounts, to go as far as invade their personal space. There have been repeated offenses throughout YouTube's short history of fans stepping over the line and boundaries of countless YouTubers, creating their own content that is highly graphic and uncomfortable, invading privacy when at meetups, and even seeking out YouTubers' addresses and showing up to their houses uninvited and unannounced. All of this behavior is considered predatory, ignorant, and incredibly disrespectful. Some fans getting mad at these YouTubers and streamers for even beginning to feel disrespected in the slightest for those violating their personal space in the first place. This creepy ass shit we'll be talking about today is less physical and more so stems from a culture that seemingly perpetuates through all sorts of YouTube fandoms, and that, my friends, is the dreaded IRL shipping and not safe for work content creation of real life fucking people on the internet. That's right, we're getting into stan culture today. Stan culture that has leaked its luminescent biohazardous fluid into the cherished and beloved Minecraft community to torment some of the most well-known and reputable people within the domain of online entertainment of a funky block game. And here I thought Minecraft was safe from this fucking bullshit. I thought we could simply handle our poorly rendered, creepy 3D pixelated creeper porn on the hub and move on with our lives. But now we have real people involved with real issues on Twitter and Instagram pertaining to the safety of some YouTubers, and it is all the more concerning. The issue of IRL shipping has gone back to the early days of YouTube, a couple prime examples being Jacksepticeye, Markiplier, and Dan and Phil. Some of these YouTubers were actually closeted for years while the shipping was going on, having it put unnecessary pressure on them to the point where fans were getting unruly that they did not just quote-unquote come out to begin with. This behavior by fans has become egregious, and it makes it incredibly uncomfortable for content creators to interact with their fanbase to begin with. And now we arrive to present day, where this behavior continues to exist onward past the wishes of those within the Minecraft community, specifically those involved with Dream SMP. Some of these creators participating in the SMP being actual literal children. Today in this video we will be breaking down each and every issue that arises with those who love the Minecraft YouTube community and how their actions hurt the streamers they so desperately pine for the attention of. I'd like to preface this review with a whole please do not go and attack anyone shown in the video, whether they be a depressed Minecraft YouTuber struggling to make his way through college, or his cringy game men fetishing fanbase. Despite the fact these people are indeed going through or putting out harmful content into the community, it doesn't mean they deserve to be harassed by others for mistakes that should be corrected cordially and without anger. Now, that doesn't mean I'm not gonna rage and poke fun at them with constructive criticism, but that means that no one deserves extremities such as harassment, death threats, or doxing threats. Thank you. Now, with all that said, let's begin. We're gonna start with the big man himself, the king of speedrunning and the slayer of cows. I'd just like to let everybody know that I don't actually hate Dream, that my cow video was a bit, and the fact he actually got attacked for pushing the squid to victory was just horrendous, considering other Minecraft YouTubers plugged other mobs just as heavily as Dream plugs squid. Dream has actually really sexy content. He's good at what he does and provides engaging and exciting moments for you and the whole family to enjoy. I'm merely a sad, spiteful asshole over the cow. Dream, please give me the cow back. It's not too late, please, sir. I will literally cry. Most Minecraft YouTubers' fan bases are toxic for many different reasons, but Dreams is like fucking Chernobyl. The nuclear meltdown his stands have over practically every little thing he does causes the man to become catatonic. YouTube just becoming a stressful day job for a guy who can never seem to do right by his asshole fans who feel entitled to push his boundaries, leak his phone number, and bullying him out of speedrun streaming altogether. He's done nothing but give and give for your entertainment. All he's met with is non-constructive criticism and hatred. Pressure that stems from a demand for a face reveal seemingly haunts Dream wherever he goes. He cannot seem to catch a break, and since his recent climb in subscribers, it seems he can't even fraternize with the streamers he may like to work with based on the discontent of his following. An example of this is the pressure from his fans when hashtag #KickSchlatt was trending on Twitter. Schlatt was saying some shit against the Chinese government, which drove stands wild, leading to his abrupt kick from Dream SMP.
It's like those TikToks I see sometimes where it's like 5 things in my Japanese house that just make sense.
Right.
This just makes sense.
Sorry?
What?
What?
So I don't use TikTok.
It's like, no, am I not getting through? Is my mic cutting off or something?
No, I'm hearing you. I just don't like TikTok.
Oh, okay. Well,
I'm not a fan.
I don't know about you, Wilbur, but I love sending my information to the Chinese government. And I think that if there's a place that I'm going to send it to that just makes sense, quite like the Japanese houses I see on TikTok, it's the CCP.
Yeah. I don't think... Are they still in power? Is it still the CCP?
Oh, of course they are.
Have they been doing any more of those Sparrow sides recently? I'm a big fan when they did that.
I don't know. You know, I haven't caught up with them in a while, but I'm sure they're still on their wacky hijinks.
Dream claimed to have kicked Schlatt over needing space in the SMP, but many conclude it was him caving into the demands of his stans who thought the joke was in bad taste, showing that maybe, and I emphasize on the maybe Dream cannot make the decision he wants to on his own. Dream stans are overly competitive and showed their true colors after the Dream vs. Technoblade fight, knocking down Techno's win in the comment section repeatedly as if he was invalid to praise for winning. There was also an apparent and never-ending onslaught of pressure from the fanbase for Dream and George not found to become a relationship, content of fictional affections for each other in the both safe for work and not safe for work settings flooding the gateways of social media. Dream has expressed his okay for this type of content, but George is not, and is regularly reminding their conjoined audiences of his discomfort, only for them to pull shit like this.
Watch, I almost know. My God. That was not what I was expecting when I was reading that message. Thank you. I love you too.
The actions of these stans are disrespectful and disgusting, and we'll get into why in a minute once we cover our good friend Jay Schlatt. It's apparent the fun of streaming and making videos has been sucked dry for Dream due to his fanbase's actions. He has now become a conglomerate, a brand that is supposed to keep up appearances rather than an actual human being, and to me that's just fucking sad. While I'm happy for his success, I still feel bad for the guy for having his human rights to privacy ripped out from under him for the sake of entertainment. At the end of the day, I think the man deserves better by his fan base. If you're a Dream fan, treat him right and respect his boundaries. And for the love of God, it's not that hard. Just don't be an asshole. Jay Schlatt's life was ultimately turned upside down since his face reveal, which was the initial spark in the forest fire that was and is his impending hypersexualization. Less than half an hour after his face reveal, teenage girls from across the globe had frantically set their Twitter profile picture to his face. They made edits of him, and they simped for him all over social media. This began the long, endless process of dehumanization, something we have seen many a YouTuber undergo upon the platform. Schlatt began mentioning the forefront of his overwhelmed state at the response, beginning to inform people that he was not comfortable with the edits, profile pictures, fanfiction, etc., yet they persisted, people continuing to do it regardless of Schlatt's initial wishes and feelings towards it all. Now you may be asking as to why. Why did these people just not stop when asked? Well, from what I can conclude, it's because the overwhelming desire to love someone unattainable is often valued higher than someone's privacy and basic human rights. As time went on, there was an increase in the edits, in the pictures, in the fanfiction, and soon it developed into something infinitely worse, a little something called fetishization. People wrote sexual stories of him and his friends, drew lewd fan art of him in gay relationships with his straight pals, and took a fucking fat Jay Schlatt on his boundaries entirely. What happened to Jay Schlatt a straight male, was not only gay fetishism, which is abhorrent and inherently homophobic, but it was also quite disgusting in general. When creepy teenage girls fetishize gay relationships between men, it portrays the picture that gay men are nothing but entertainment for straight people. It tells gay men that their purpose is to please women and that loving another man is dirty, and that they should entertain others with their relationships instead of living them for themselves. When you fetishize real life, straight men and push them into gay relationships, you are actively changing someone's entire being to suit your own narrative. You are twisting someone else's life for entertainment within your own. You are telling people that their sexuality is something to be chosen and dictated by other people whenever they see fit. You see my issue? You are actively idolizing this very real person and shoving them into a piece of fictional writing of your own, with only the intentions of making it because they're cute, or they make you comfortable, or they look cute with so-and-so. Like, hold on. Let me paint you a quick little picture. Let me whip out my big-ass paintbrush here labeled reality check and illustrate something to explain how shipping can make someone feel. Imagine you and your best friend. You two are incredibly close. You two are like family. Y'all are fucking siblings. Now imagine a complete stranger, someone you've never met, someone who knows incidentally everything about you that you've ever put up online, right? Imagine this complete stranger is writing stories about the two of you. Now imagine the stories about the two of you are about having sex. The stories involve one or both of your suicides. The stories depict you or your other friend committing mass murder. And mind you, these are all examples of very real and prominent genres of what teenagers are writing about real people and are called smut and angst. Now, should I say it again for emphasis? A complete stranger writing stuff like this about you and your best, closest friend. Someone you have never met, anonymously online, publishing romantic, sexual, platonic, depressive, suicidal, and potentially even pornographic content of you and someone you feel safe and close to. Kind of fucked up, isn't it? How was that reality check then? How did that make you feel? Stop writing fanfiction about real people. The people you are writing about have not consented to be turned into characters because at the end of the day, that is what you were doing. When you turn a real person into a character in a story, you are dehumanizing them. You are making them into a piece of fiction that is unrelatable and based on the point of view of a storyline that does not realistically reflect them. You are romanticizing mental illness, school shootings, suicide, all this terrible shit, and for what? Just so you can say, hey guys, look at this really great fanfiction I wrote about my comfort creator shooting 12 innocents and dicking down his male friend. Like, bruh, what? Come on, like, it's so gross. It has to stop. The fanfiction has to stop. The shipping has to stop. The stan culture has to stop, and it starts with you. Don't do it. Stop it. You look dumb and you ruin everyone's day by doing it. Stop. Just fucking stop. Get some help. Treat others how you want to be treated, and teach others around you to do the same. It's not that hard. Schlatt has since changed his appearance. We cannot conclude his reasons for doing so, but is most likely an attempt to stop the rampant discomfort he feels with so much licentious media of himself surrounding him on the internet. He found his own face reveal so overwhelming and expressed confusion as to why people obsessed over what he looked like so indignantly at the time of the video's publication. In his video, The Truth About My Facial Hair, Schlatt shows various comments mocking him for his mutton chops and insulting his appearance. He said that it doesn't matter about the mutton chops or how scruffy he may look, because he is becoming more and more comfortable in his face and putting it out there. He knows that it doesn't actually matter about how he looks because at the end of the day, it's his choice, and it's his content that he makes. And the hate comments and the ridicule that comes from people, he'll never see them again. He said that he would not let the lives of others dictate what he should and shouldn't care about. His journey has led to self-confidence in himself and confidence in his appearance. We should all support him on that exploration of self-confidence, instead of disregarding his wishes of impersonation, not safe for work content, and stan culture. Let's be serious for a minute. Schlatt would probably kick you in the fucking nuts if you had any, if he saw you doing that gross, lewd shit. So just don't. Go sexualize some fucking fictitious Tumblr twink like the one-slur or the yellow fuck from Curious George, not our funny, ironic, woman-hating businessman. Honestly, like, don't you people have lives? It's really sad. But it doesn't stop there for poor Jebediah. For some reason, people demand trigger warnings for content creators that make them uncomfortable, but actively ship and fetishize and create narratives that surpass the boundaries of said content creators they like. Jay Schlatt is also quite possibly one of the most controversial Minecraft YouTubers in recent events pertaining to his current cancellation and his recurring antagonist role in the Dream SMP. His creativity, exceptional acting skills, and ability to portray the villain was executed so brilliantly that half the fanbase took it too seriously. Now everywhere I look I see captions like "Trigger warning, Jay Schlatt," and not only is this stupid, but incredibly childish. You are literally a child. You shit your pants and cry. Go change your nappy right the fuck now, baby. Wah, 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 fucking wah. Grow the fuck up and realize that Jay Schlatt does not deserve to be on the same pedestal as people who are actually blatantly upsetting in the real world. Usually, you would see triggers for horrific people such as Adolf Hitler, Stalin, Boris Johnson, or Donald Trump, who have all done either mass murders, genocide, said very serious derogatory remarks, or even have committed rape. But instead, these people are demonizing an actor and entertainer because they couldn't stand to see a friend of their comfort creator go to war in a children's block game. Even if people cannot control what triggers them, it is both extremely difficult to avoid someone so pivotal in a community you regularly watch. It is incredibly harmful to trigger warn someone like Jay Schlatt, as it not only vilifies him as a human being, but also waters down the real reason why trigger warnings exist, to censor bad people like serial killers and rapists. When you begin to ask for trigger warnings on fictive storylines like Schlatt's villain arc, you begin to turn Jay Schlatt himself into a villainous character rather than a person in the flesh of reality. To all those who continue to demonize Schlatt in and out of a character setting, learn to separate real-life villains from actors playing a role in a story. Another reason for these abundantly unnecessary trigger warnings may be for a scandal Schlatt was involved in, where he was screenshotted saying racial slurs in a Discord server belonging to him. All the times where he said slurs in the screenshots I have seen were used in the ironic jokes that, though distasteful, were never actually directed at specific people. All the screenshots and evidence of him saying certain slurs were from many, many years ago, where black and gay rights were significantly less prevalent. In a video where he said the F slur, for example, it was a stream over a year ago used in comedic context. Around 5 seconds after he said it, he expressed genuine nervous remorse and repeatedly said something like, "I should not have said that word." This shows that Schlatt actively recognizes his faults, which goes to show that the things he has said in the past, from the stream and the incidents years before that, do not and should not define him as a person. I have an extremely hard time believing that someone who said this on the day of Donald Trump's inauguration is racist. I think the sad truth is that people see what they want, and ignore the good parts of people just because they have already made assumptions of their character. Why do we assume that people mean everything they say? Why do we assume that a singular bad word said 5 years ago defines a person's views in the modern day? No matter how distasteful or offensive you find Schlatt's obvious ironic jokes to be, you have no right to assume he means it in any contents outside of the irony he's using. The entire point of jokes is that you do not mean what you say. That's why it's called a joke. There's a big difference between saying stuff like this and saying something like, "I've been considering assaulting someone." Censorship is everywhere. People just think that they have the right to tell others what they can and cannot say, joke about, talk about, and that is not poggers. In reality, freedom of speech and hate speech are contradictory terms, and as much as you hate to believe it, people do not always mean what they say. As an avid believer of second chances and redemption, with a history of dodgy, ironic jokes myself, please try to remember that words do not define all of someone's character. A split-second decision should not dictate someone's entire future. If someone sounds like they're joking, they probably are. No matter how offensive you may find the joke or think it's something you shouldn't joke about, the harsh reality is that you have no right to control them. At the end of the day, we do not have the right to control people and their speech, and we also do not have the right to assume what their intentions are behind the joke. we can learn anything from Schlatt's moments of weakness, we can definitely conclude that what we say should not automatically correlate to what we believe. People do not deserve to lose their careers over harmless mistakes. We should be more open-minded and forgiving to content creators around us, not canceling these people for human mistakes, but educating them peacefully so they can ascertain future success maturely instead of ignorantly. What I've talked about with Schlatt prior leaks into many other tragic tales of YouTubers with their rise to the public eye. Call Me Carson is another prime example of this. Carson is considered the antithesis of stan culture, as he is either infantilized or bullied by his fanbase with no in-between. His fans either treat him like an "oh, sweet baby boy" or a rusty urinal in a men's truck stop bathroom. Infantilizing a grown-ass man is just not right, in my personal opinion. To ogle and drool over every mannerism would obviously make a person become very reserved and uncomfortable. This infantilization feeds into that gay obsession most straight stan teens fall into, creating fanfiction of Carson and his friends doing terrible things to each other. Carson has become highly uncomfortable with his fanbase and has attempted to block them out whenever his boundaries are excessively pushed, which led to his fanbase condemning him for even daring to have the audacity to block those he wanted.
For some reason, people assume that, like, I don't... If it's not said publicly, then I don't have conversations with my friends in private. So they just assume, oh, you're just completely fine with your friends being racist, when my friends aren't racist, and that doesn't matter. Anyways, so I responded to a person. I responded with something along the lines of, if you're that upset over it, you can stop watching them. Because it makes no sense to me. Okay, let's stop the stan hate in the chat, but like, I'm just telling you guys this because this I don't know if everyone saw this yesterday, but it was goofy as hell. It was so goofy on Twitter. Where was I? Anyways, I responded with, if you're that upset over it, then you can stop watching them. Not because I'm excusing racist behavior or something, which was what they started saying, but because it's ridiculous to me that people that claim to like these people are exclusively just going to hate on them constantly and try and push for some public apology that at the end of the day isn't going to change anything. So I was, but that doesn't matter, because this community, this like community of stans that follow me and my friends, are very stuck on the idea of finding ways to just say that we're terrible people. So I deleted all those tweets and then tweeted, you know what, fuck it, I'm going to Benihana. I don't want these people trying to skew my words as me being a terrible person. That's why I tweeted. And then they took that and decided that was me trying to guilt trip when it wasn't.
Carson is not racist or ableist for not speaking out against his friends, who are also not racist or ableist. In fact, the reason why Carson is even considered ableist was because he didn't understand what a hyperfixation was. He did not shame the person for having a hyperfixation, but merely said, well, thank you for supporting me, I guess, being a bit uncomfortable, despite the fact he did not fully comprehend what it was. It was not out of ableist intent, but out of genuine confusion, and yet the stans hopped back on him like ugly keyboard-clicking vultures. The reason why he's considered racist is strictly because his friends, who are not him, by the way, said things and made jokes that were taken incredibly out of context. Might I just remind the audience that just because someone has friends who do problematic things does not make them inherently problematic? That is a terrible sentiment to have, and y'all need to just leave Carson alone. The stands are malicious, going as far to say that when Carson was legitimately cheated on with his best friend during a mental health hiatus, that he was looking for attention out of it. These are the same people that turn around and support him immediately after. They still turn up to his streams and they still give him money because they believe they are entitled to do what they want since they're the ones, quote-unquote, giving Carson a career, as if Carson's own talent was not the thing doing the work for himself. Just as much as the stan culture side of YouTube shoves Carson in a flower crown and a diaper, the cringe culture side of YouTube rips into his self-worth even more. They mock our beloved Christmas Story kid to the point of no return, going as far to say that he looks like a school shooter. A school shooter.
That's straight.
Okay, no, chat, no. You can't just tell someone they look like a school shooter. That's fucked up. That's actually legitimately fucked up to say. Like, that's not cool. Like, you can't just say, you look like someone who's gonna go murder innocent children. That's fucked up of you. Don't fucking say that. Don't say, but it's true. You're fucked up if you say that. Don't fucking do that. Think about how that comes across. Like, it's legitimately not fun. Like, I get told I look like a school shooter, and it legitimately depresses me. Like, that's one of the worst things you could say. I can't believe so many people actually say that. Because it's so fucking desensitized. Don't fucking do that.
What's up, dude? Shout out.
He is considered the antithesis of YouTube cringe, garnering an incredibly toxic fanbase of Reddit trolling incels and soft girls alike. I think it's safe to say Carson deserves better, just like the rest of the YouTubers we'll be talking about today. Carson does nothing but provide countless hours of non-stop entertainment, and I cannot believe the amount of disrespect that is given his way strictly because he's not conventionally attractive to a portion of people's, twisted beauty standards. I think Carson looks fucking fine. Y'all are just mean. And now, my friends, we have reached the apex of fucked up fan bases. We have reached the peak of the summit, the end-all, be-all of terrible stans and terrible human beings. Do you want to know why? Do you dare to understand what makes stans for Tommy Innit and Tubbo far worse than Jay Schlatt, Dreamer Carson? Well, let's break it down here. What do Jay Schlatt, Dream, and Carson have in common that Tubbo and Tommy do not? That's right. Jay Schlatt, Dream, and Carson are all adults. Now, what do Tubbo and Tommy have in common? That's right, they're children. And if you think that just because they're children, the internet has spared them the treatment that similarly walks in line with the very rest, you are very, very, very fucking wrong. Tommy Innit and Tubbo are consistently infantilized for being young. They're treated like dolls for their fanbase to dress up and play with at will. Infantilization runs rampant within their fanbase, and they are shipped together against their own will and comfort. Within this shipping comes gay erotic fanfiction of literal minors, where they're painted as soft and demure in contrast to older YouTubers or each other. They are portrayed as carbon copy soft boys in these works of fiction, which is known to make both Tubbo and Tommy very uncomfortable. This is a very large issue, even larger than the harassment of age YouTubers, because this is an example of harassment of minors. It does not matter if they are above the age of consent in their country. The universal adult cutoff point is 18. Another excuse for this disgusting behavior is that those fetishizing Tubbo and Tommy are minors themselves, which is no excuse to make people considerably uncomfortable, treating people like fictional characters to manipulate and string a narrative for their own sick entertainment. These stans are so adamant about making the narrative of their quote-unquote relationship a reality, they actually spend money to push and harass Tubbo and Tommy on stream.
You know what I mean, answer truthfully.
How big is Tommy? What, tall? Yeah, he's very tall.
These stans, on top of being creepy and craving unspeakable fetishization of their favorite streamers, are incredibly temperamental and explosive. Tubbo and Tommy Innit are either defended against other streamers to the death over things that are not even serious, or attacked incessantly for minor instigations. An example of his outward toxic aggression lies in one of Wilbur Soot's Among Us streams, where he was attacked and received death threats over taking Tubbo's color in Among Us.
if I picked yellow. I just wanted to be yellow. Why can't Tubbo let me be? I explained that to him and he kept shouting at me, so I just stood my ground. It's nothing. It's a fucking colour. I'll give him the colour if he wants next time, but Jesus.
I want it!
It feels like we're just this doesn't feel like a proper game. I don't know. I like to mess around with Among Us. I mean, you saw at the beginning of the game I kicked Fundy for fun. But like this feels too much. This feels
good work once again.
So much.
Are we skipping?
So much.
This is for the
I have
highlights.
no idea who the fuck it
This
was.
indeed is for the highlights.
I didn't.
You're a grown man.
Hi YouTube. Hi YouTube.
Hi YouTube.
Hi YouTube.
Let's get hi YouTube in emote only mode. Hi YouTube.
I've
Check
never
it out.
wanted to
Grown-ass
server mute
man,
people
Will.
more in my life, and I'm surprised
Well, for
Wilbur
love of-
hasn't,
please
honestly.
keep- Alright, chat,
That would be a-
alright, fair enough. You know, you're right. Fucking. What is this, chat? What are you doing right now, man? This is no, it's not hi YouTube, chat. He's a child. You've got to give him the color, give him the yellow. It's fine. I'm just gonna end. All right. Thank you for coming to the stream, guys. You've been absolutely wonderful. I'll be back sometime soon. Probably in a couple of days. I've got to go and visit my parents over the next couple of days. I will be back soon. Thank you all for coming. We're gonna raid Tommy in it. Go give him some love. Yeah. Thank you all for coming. Thank you. Mwah.
He took a color in Among Us. They were all squabbling for a bit, and the chat fucking exploded on Wilbur so badly he needed to end his own stream early. He still thanked them. He still thanked them for coming after that. Another example to portray how fast fans can turn on them is when Tubbo, being from the UK, did not know what ACAB was. These stans went feral and started sending him death threats for merely being a bit uneducated on a topic he knew viscerally nothing about. The way they were treating literal fucking children, literal 16-year-olds, is despicable and needs to be corrected immediately. If you are acting like this towards literal kids online, you are the problem. Grow the fuck up. You know what pisses me off the most? The fact that these kids have to go to school and see their peers after all that goes on in their communities, that must make them feel abysmal. Like, here they are at the height of their youth, reaching immeasurable numbers on YouTube, and they have to face others in the real world knowing that there are communities dedicated and not safe for work content of them. Like, each time you sexualize them, each time you roleplay as them and write for them, making them do these terrible things, you are making these kids stressed and shameful of their accomplishments. Things that deserve celebrated, not feared. So you're probably wondering, well, how can you fix something as global as this? There are millions of people harassing these kids, these streamers. Surely one or two reformed yaoi fetishists won't change the millions making terrible decisions. Well, the first step is to confront those around you about it and remind them the value of privacy and that it should not be undermined over your own entitlement. You're not entitled to violate these kids' wishes. You are not entitled to fucking pick and choose what is right and wrong with mental gymnastics. It's despicable if you think you should. These indiscretions are not just exclusive to Minecraft YouTube either. People such as Corpse, Eugenia Cooney, and tragedies like the death of Christina Grimmie and Etika remind us that our own etiquette is paramount to the safety of our physical health, mental health, and the way we support others. You are responsible to make proactive changes if you are part of the problem, and if those around you won't stop making asses out of themselves, show them this video. Be a part of upholding boundaries and respecting the content creators you love. Do people the favor and wake them up. They're fucking wasting their lives, honestly. If you like more videos like this, please subscribe. It's important to me that these words get noted around the community for the sake of spreading awareness of how we treat online personalities and how it affects them more than you could ever know. Let's appreciate content creators for the laughter they bring to our sorrowful lives right now. We're fucking going through it with COVID. Let's not start up more shit for them to stress over. Thank you to the Minecraft YouTube community of streamers and YouTubers that really make my life brighter. I am so grateful for you and what you do for people like me. You guys have no idea what it means for you guys to exist during this part of the world. It's been an incredibly taxing year, and I can only thank those of the Dream SMP for pulling me through a very bad depression, and I felt I owed it to them to speak the truth and respect their privacy and get the words out to respect their own boundaries in general. So, thank you guys for everything. I don't know if you'll see this, but I really appreciate everything you guys do. Sincerely, Daisy.